fights with passion, and he inspires.
Are you ready for a war?
All right, welcome back to From 8 Arbitration. We're going to have an abbreviated episode today. I hope my laptop makes it through it. I know you are so tired of hearing me talk about my laptop, but it is kaput. Now, the good thing is that I took it to the Geek Squad today. I finally just broke down and took it there, and they say they know exactly what's wrong with it. And so tomorrow I have to take it there at 5 p.m., and so they can fix it. I got to leave it there. They said that'll take about 3 days. And so I'm going to try to get through this episode. I had a lot of stuff I was going to do, but I can't do it all because my laptop is not good. It's very sick. I'm going to have Paul Perry on today. He's branch president 1100. We're going to talk about some things. I respect the hell out of that guy. He is one of the very first ones who came up to me when I started this podcast and gave me some love. And you know, when you first start a podcast, you're like, man, I hope just a few people listen to it. That'd be great. And to hear that the branch president of the largest branch in the country in California is listening to it really meant something to me. They passed the special convention motion at his branch, and so I wanted to get him on here to talk about that. We talked about some other things. And then on the other side of him, I'll come back. I went to the Kentucky State Convention last week and had a fantastic time. I always love going places like that, getting to see my people. I had a fantastic time. It was extremely bizarre, the goings on at the Kentucky State Convention. Completely bizarre. I'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about my brother, Mr. Dress. All right. Some sad stuff, man. Some really sad stuff. And I'm going to pray for him, not on him. Okay, I know that I've been having fun with him the last few weeks. He's made it easy for me, but he said something in his last episode, and it concerned me. And so we're going to kind of flip the switch a little bit on him, and I'm not going to go at him because there's something that he said that I'm going to pray for that man and not pray on him like I have been. And so we'll talk about that as well, and because my man needs help, and I'm going to pray for him. All right, and so we're going to do that for my brother Lou Drass because something he said just really concerned me. So I'm going to have Paul Perry. Then I'm going to come back on the other side. We're going to talk about the Kentucky State Convention. I'm not going to be able to do everything I wanted to do because my laptop is not going to do it. Matter of fact, it's shutting down on me right now. And so hopefully it'll. Anyway, but when I come back, we'll be gone this week. We're going to Cleveland, going to the zoo. That's this week. Remember, we had that big build up for that. That's going to be a fantastic time. Then James and I are going to go into Detroit. So I'll be gone the rest of the week. Won't have an episode Sunday, but I'll have one Monday with my new laptop where it's fixed. And I can't wait. I'm so tired of getting on here and my laptop shutting down on me that it's caused me a lot of grief. I don't stress on much. This laptop stresses me. It does. So I'll be thankful. Tomorrow, I've got to take my laptop in at 5. I'm going to try to do the Lion's Den tomorrow, the 6-day count stuff. I'm going to also have the Wolf, James Henry, on tomorrow, and he's going to talk to you a little bit. And so hopefully we'll get to that. If you don't see an episode up tomorrow, it means my computer died. Okay, so here's Mr. Paul Perry, branch president 1100. Think the world of that guy. We're going to talk a little bit. I love talking to him. We had a good time. On the other side of it, we'll talk about the Kentucky State Convention and saying a prayer for my brother Lou Drass. All right, so I'll talk to you on the other side of Mr. Perry. All right. All right. I got the man Paul Perry with me tonight, Branch 1100 president. I want to talk about the special convention. We just voted overwhelmingly at Branch 4 to have the special convention. I saw online, Paul, where y'all did as well. I wanted to reach out to you because I wanted you to talk about it. Y'all are the largest branch in the country, and I wanted to get your opinions on it. But first, I wanted to tell a story you didn't know that I was going to do this, but I want to tell a story about you. You,
All right.
you won't remember this story. You might remember it. I don't know. But when I first started this podcast, Paul, I started it to educate small guys to do. So I started, just doing basic education. And then once I realized my union was kind of failing us, it kind of turned a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? I kind
Yeah,
of became a different person. And so I'd always said, man, if it's a handful of people listening to it, it's well worth the $30 I spend a month to do it. If it helps one person,
that's
it's
true.
to me, I've succeeded. And so we were at a meeting and we're at a hotel. JB and I were walking out of the front of the hotel. And so when I come out, there's a group of people standing outside in the parking lot. And when I came out, they're like, "Hey, are you the one that has the podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm Corey from 8 Arbitration." They're like, "Yeah, we listen to that, man. We like it." And I was like, well, "I appreciate that. You were one of them, and you came up to me. Now I'm Nashville boy, branch four. I don't know branches at the time. I didn't know. I'm just doing a podcast." And so you came up to and you said, "Introduce yourself. I'm Paul Perry, branch president, 1100." And I was like, "Okay." And you told me then, you was like, "Hey, go after the establishment. Keep going after the establishment. We've got to make a change. We've got to have a change at the top. This union is failing our people." And I was like, "I really appreciate that, man." He was like, "Yes, we listen to you out here." And so, I was thought that was pretty damn cool. So I'm walking with JB and he's like, "Well, you know who that is, right?" I was like, "It's Paul Perry." He's like, "He's branch president, 1100." I said, "Okay." He's like, "That's the largest branch in the country." I said, "Do what?" He's like, "That's the largest branch in the country." And I was like, "Damn." And so it was that moment, Paul, that I realized, damn, I got people all the way in California listening to me.
I remember we had the meeting too later on at Jacksonville, and
Yes.
you also asked me, "You're not from California," and I was born and raised in West Virginia. My dad was
Yes.
a United Mine worker for 38 years. Everything I did throughout my life, it's been about union. Everything I own came from union wages. My childhood, my life, I might have had one or two jobs that wasn't union. But I grew up in West Virginia. I moved to Texas and began my career in '84 in Houston, Texas. And then in '89, I transferred to Santa Monica, California. Been here since '89.
Now, what was the story about West Virginia? Because didn't you say you used to commute?
I grew up where the Hatfields and McCoys, the feud, right? It was in the county where I grew up.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you drive back and forth?
Oh,
Where did you drive from? I remember this now. You said you drove some crazy links. What was that?
When I go home, when I used to go home see my mom and dad, I drive to West Virginia. It takes me 3 nights on the road, 3 nights to get back,
Yes.
but I take 3 weeks off.
I remember that now. Yes, I remember you because I remember you saying West Virginia, and you would drive home from California.
Yeah. I used to years ago. I worked for an airline. It's not that I'm afraid to fly; I just don't like it.
Yeah. Hey, you got to see some beautiful countryside too.
Oh yeah, and I take different routes. I've went through Nashville, up through Denver, but normally I just go through St. Louis that way. It's a little bit quicker.
Yeah. Well, the special convention, Nashville, and you hear a lot of stories about the people not voting for the special convention because they're talking about money or what have you, and that's kind of getting the cart before the horse because this is the convention. This isn't to pay for the convention. We don't have a convention yet. You don't even know where it's going to be.
So you don't have a clue how much money it's going to be because you don't know where it's going to be at. And so people that are saying, well, we're not going to, we're going to vote that down because of the money. You don't know how much money it is. And so that's kind of the sticking point on some of these. And I know that may have come up in yours. It came up in mine in branch 4 when this was last Thursday at our union meeting. I'll just tell you about it. We had more people show up than we've had show up in a year at our union meeting. So we're like, wonder what this is about. Because when a lot of people show up, you're thinking something's going on. And so they made the motion to send a letter for the special convention. And a couple of retirees stand up and they're like, what is this? What's the special convention? And, we've been blindsided by this. What about the cost and all this? So you kind of realize that's the talking point of the, trying to vote it down. And so one of the retirees said that they wanted to table it. And so we voted on that, voted that down. We were not going to table that. And so they had the motion and we, overwhelmingly voted to have the convention. But one thing I don't understand, Paul, when you talk about, especially with retirees not agreeing to the special convention, is because you saw what just happened with the APW, where they got the 100% COLA.
Yeah.
And one of our biggest gripes was in this TA leading up to the TA, we didn't want that, as they call it, that diet cola. We wanted the full cola. And Renfro kept saying he got everything he could get. He squeezed every penny out of the Postal Service.
Yeah.
And just be thankful that we, hung on to the cola, because if we went to arbitration, we could lose the cola and all these things here. And then, so we got the Diet Cola, and APW just comes out with theirs. And I'm happy for them, but they got 100% cola.
Yeah.
And the retirees are the ones, seems like the ones making the most noise about shooting the convention down. To me, they should be the ones that are coming in there saying, we need the special convention because we don't want Renfro negotiating the next collective bargaining. We don't want him negotiating the next TA. And I don't understand that. Do you?
No, I don't understand it either. At our meeting, it was a packed house. It was nominations, and one of the stewards made the motion, and one of the retirees on the opposite slate stood up and said, well, we're having a convention in 2 years. And someone corrected him, said, no, it's next year. He's saying we didn't have the money, but all the large branches, we didn't have a convention in 2020. I don't know how other people's bylaws are, but a certain amount of our money every I think it's like 4% of what we get from national goes into the convention fund. So we got the money. And one of the carriers, one of the ex-officers, Jeff Lee, got up. He spoke for the motion that, 71% of the membership nationwide voted this contract down, and took him 700 days to get this contract. It took him 2 days to come and force the exact, it's just about identical to what we voted down. This convention is, like you said, it's important to have, because we got to, like, he's negotiating our next contract. And they got to be something there where this can never happen again.
Yes. Yes. And it's funny, I'm going to talk about two things you just talked about, Paul. Talk about 71% of the members that voted it down. And did you just see the rural carriers? They voted, 14,000 voted.
Yeah.
That's it. 14,000
Wow.
rural carriers voted on their TA. And we had what, 90? Something like that?
Yeah, around 1,000. I know 81% of our members from branch 1100 voted the contract down.
Yeah.
Percent.
Yeah. So it shows you the movement that was created right there on the TA. We had a lot going on right there. If you remember, a lot of the members were getting involved with the TA to vote that down because it was crap. And then you had 14,000 rural carriers vote on their TA. It shows you the power of this movement that you kind of watched happen in real time. The city letter carriers standing up for themselves, unlike anything we've ever seen before, really. And
I,
you can everywhere you go, you can feel it. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, yes, I got going on 40 years, and I've never seen a movement like this. The rank and file are coming up, and like you said about the clerks, they get full colas, we get diet colas. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, because you look at it, Paul, uh, when you're talking, and hey, I ain't got nothing. My son's a clerk, so I hope
Yeah,
they get everything they ask for. But
yes, here.
when you talk about what we do, what they do, the fact that they would get anything more than us disgusts me, and it should disgust every member that's a city letter carrier. They will never get robbed and killed on the street. You never hear of a clerk getting robbed in the post office. But yet,
Oh,
I saw a video today where a young lady was out delivering mail, and a guy came up, put a gun to her head. Have you seen that video yet?
no, but someone sent me a text message of a news article. Someone in the city of LA today got shot.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah.
They will never have to worry about that.
No.
They will never have to worry about dying in the heat. We've already had two this year. You look at the face of that. Our brother, Mr. Gates, dying last year, and kind of the face of that, the heat related deaths. Clerks will never have to deal with that. They'll
No.
never have to worry about that. They'll
No.
never have to worry about stationary events. They'll never have to worry about dog bites. Things that we have to worry about every single day: rain, storms, snow, heat. They never have to worry about safety blitzes.
Yeah.
Management coming out there doing safety blitzes on them. They don't have to worry about DOS and PET and 3996s and auto pivots and the falsifying clock rings that we've seen. We're out delivering, and the Postal Service just clock us out. The falsification of that, the harassing scanner messages, HIP falsification. They'll never have to worry about those things. But the city letter carrier has to worry about that every single day. And the fact that our president couldn't get us any more than he did is disgusting. And the fact that the APW, more power to them, but the fact that APW got 100% cola and we got that diet cola is disgusting. And so, yes, when you talk about the TA getting voted down so overwhelmingly, and I think that is the reason why, Paul, we need this special convention more than ever to make sure that this cat has nothing to do with another TA.
100% agree with you. No way he should be negotiating their next contract. Even with all the stuff that you said during the COVID periods, letter carriers
Yes.
lost their lives. And I'm
Yes.
sure clerks did too. We should have been paid 1.3. That was like a slap in the face. And he went
Exactly.
around saying the starting wage. If it's
Yeah.
not $25-$30, it's a no go.
Yes. COVID is the perfect example.
Yeah.
That's the perfect example is COVID. That's a great one. When I've said it small, when the world shut down, here we are. The city letter carrier walking around out there.
Every
Looks
day.
like a ghost town. Nobody's on the street. No, there's no traffic going to your route, coming back, no traffic. Nobody's walking dogs. Nobody's doing anything during that period of time. Here we are, walking house to house still.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
could get
perfect example.
during the COVID, I could get to work in about an hour. I'm about 60, 70 miles from the union office. But if I had to drive straight to the office, it'd take me 2 hours. During COVID, an hour. But
Yeah.
we got to have this convention.
Yes.
There got to be guidelines where he cannot go and do exactly what he did with this last tentative agreement.
Yeah.
I believe that it was they had it worked out before they even met. 2 days, and we get the
No
same
doubt.
agreement.
Yeah. And you got the establishment coming out for him. Well, they went to the arbitration. No, they didn't. The arbitrator said they didn't.
Yeah, mediation.
Yeah.
And also the establishment is coming after me now. But
Oh, no question.
yeah,
You're a powerful individual, and you're talking about. That's what I want to talk about. You said you're on, and you said the opposing slate. Y'all's election is going on right now, right?
yes.
That's
The business agent is coming back to run against me.
right.
Uh, I don't know why somebody would give up a $50,000. Well, I know why, to give up
Yeah.
$50,000 to come back and be the branch president.
Yeah.
In 2026, she doesn't have the support of Region 1. And if she's back to carrying mail.
Yeah.
And this is not, to me, this is not about carrying mail. It's about the membership.
Yes.
Everyone on her team at the national convention, they supported Renfro on the charges. And to me, that's the people at the national convention, the delegates that voted to keep Renfro into office. They're just as much responsible for this contract as he is.
They're as culpable as he is. I agree with
Yeah.
that. And I said that back then when I was doing an episode a day in Boston.
Yeah.
When you could see that happening, and then you hear a lot of stories from different regions where the RGAs and RAAs are going around telling people if they supported the charges that they would not work for the union any longer. Those things are real. That shit happened.
Yes.
We're not making that up. But yeah, I think that people say, well, the charges are weak. No, you had a man get caught lying. You had a man get caught lying numerous times. To me, if you get caught lying, it's a disqualifier.
I agree.
And hey, I've told members if they think this is political, I've told anybody and everybody if they want to come on here, they can come on here. I've told the establishment, I've told everybody on the executive council, every resident officer, if they want to come on here and talk, I will talk to anybody. And so, in no way, shape, or form is that political. But you said opposing slate, and I remember that you're actually running. Y'all's elections is now. I
Yes.
think it's
the ballots
today.
Well,
tomorrow?
the ballots should be mailed out today. They'll be counted on July the 7th.
Yeah.
So all of them's got to be returned by July the 7th. But I got a good, strong team, and I got I got 3-4 of my EVP, Anita Price. She's used to be on the B team years ago, but she's been a full-time officer for about 12 years. I got 3 more Step B team members, and they're all beasts. Fong Mua, Shavella Calloway, and Geraldine Stafford. I got a good, strong team. Yeah. And they're going around saying my team's weak, but 3 of my members got elected by acclamation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whose team's weak?
The establishment's coming after me too, brother. So
yeah,
I'm with you, my man. I'm with you. But like I said, hey, anybody can come on here. I'm not. If somebody that's running against you wants to come on here, I don't know the individual that's running against. I've never met them, never talked to them, don't know anything about them. But they're more than welcome to come on here and speak their piece as well. I will not turn anybody down. That's just how I am. They can message me. They can call you and get my number. And I will not tell anybody they can't come on here. But I wanted you to come on here, Paul, because I saw online where y'all had overwhelmingly voted for the convention. Being the largest branch in the country, I think that's persuasive nationwide that the largest branch in the country voted for the convention, because you have them down south here where retired national officers are coming in there with a room full of retirees and saying money, money, money. Ain't got nothing to do with money.
Well,
It's a letter. It's a stamp.
yeah.
You're getting the cart before the horse if you're saying it's about the money. You don't even know if there's a convention yet.
Yeah.
This is to have the convention. And so I don't see how one retiree could come to a meeting and say, we don't want the special convention. How one retiree, after seeing this last TA, could support Renfro having anything to do with the next TA, especially since the APW goes in there after Renfro said he's gotten every penny, every dime he could out of the Postal Service. We could get nothing more. APW walks out there with 100% COLA. I'm like, what the fuck is that? How'd that happen? You know,
Exactly. How did that happen?
Exactly. Yes. I don't see how any retiree could show up to support not having the convention. Because to me, they should in droves be going to union meetings saying, we want the special convention.
Yes.
We don't want him to have anything to do with this because the COLA affects us. We got a diet COLA. Here's APW who does, and nothing against them. Like I said, they don't do a percentage of what we do. And they get 100% COLA.
I agree. Like when was it? We got the T6 pay, harder work, higher wages.
Yeah.
And now they're gonna make more. At the beginning steps, the clerks make more than the letter carriers.
Yeah.
That's absolutely wrong. We should
And
be
I don't
making
get
$5 more an hour than they do.
Say that again.
We should be making at least $5 more an hour than the clerks do.
I could not agree more with that right there. We should be making at least $5 an hour more. And again, my son's a clerk.
Yeah.
You know, so I want nothing but the best for him, but he will never get bitten by a dog or die from the heat, like I was saying, or the complete badgering that we take out on the street, the weather, the storms, everything, robbed, killed. You know, to me, it's a no brainer. But God, dog, we got sold out. Everybody knows how I feel about the TA, but
Yeah.
you know, we
Same
got
here.
sold out. Yeah, and so, but yeah, I wanted to get you on here, brother. I'm glad you were able to talk about the election because when you said that, I remembered that y'all currently are in that. But Paul, I think the world of you, man. You were one of the very first ones to come up to me when I was doing this podcast, when it started kind of turning towards going towards the establishment, to pull me to the side in that parking lot and say, hey, we're in trouble. Keep going after the establishment. We have got to make changes. There's got to be change. And I remember it to this day. I will never forget it because it meant the world to me to have somebody with your influence, you know, a branch president of the largest branch in the country, to take your time out of your day to come over to me, some, you know, white boy from Nashville, Tennessee, branch 4, and does a podcast and say, hey, you know, keep up the good work. And, you know, we're listening to you. And that meant the world to me, man. I will never forget that. And I can't thank you enough for the influence that you've had on this podcast. Because when I talk about get in, we're going motherfuckering. When I talk about that, that's what I'm talking about. What you said. Hey, we're in this together as city letter carriers. We're going to do this together. This movement is not about me. It's not about Paul. It's not about James. It's about the city letter carriers having enough of it, standing up and saying, keep your foot on their throat. We're going motherfucking. And that's, I take that from you, brother, from when you pulled me aside that day. And I think the world of it. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your day to come over and tell me that.
All right. I appreciate what you're doing. You have a big following out here. And I believe this is going to keep on growing because you got to keep your foot down. And I know James will do the right thing when he becomes president. You will too.
Yes.
I've worked with James, and James is all about the letter carrier.
100%.
100%.
I couldn't be more ecstatic to know that man personally now. You know, when you hear of James Henry, the name is like legendary. You know, you talk about James Henry, you know, you're like, James Henry. but advocacy and all these things, kind of legendary. And then you meet him, he couldn't be more down to earth. He couldn't be more one of us as far as on the streets. Uh, Integrity, more than anybody else I've ever met. The knowledge of that man, the plan. I agree with you, Paul, man. We're in good shape. I could not be more pleased to have that man running as president of this union.
He's going to do an outstanding job. And he's going to put, if it takes 14, 18 hours a day, he will put that in.
Yes, I agree. Because you look at him now, he's all over the place.
Yeah. I believe I told you when we first merged, when my branch merged with branch 1100, James was my senior vice president. And where we're out in the office, the old union office, I was like 38 miles from my home. James is like 100 miles. And we're leaving out of that office. I believe it's like 1:15 in the morning. And with my other union, if I got home at 1:15, when I got up the next morning, I'd come to the office. James looked at me. I says, well, I guess I'll see you sometime tomorrow. James looked at me and says, no, you'll meet me in Lawndale at 6:30 in the morning. I said, okay. He probably didn't get home. Probably as soon as he got home, he had to turn around and drive right back. But we were there at 6:30 in the morning.
He's still the same.
I know he is.
Yeah, he's still the same way. You talk to him and he's extremely nice, polite. He's very demanding. So I'm like, hang on, brother. We ain't won yet. And,
there's a different side.
Yeah.
He's going to make sure
very demanding.
Make sure the letter carriers is taken care of. It's about the membership first. It's not about any titles or nothing. It's about the membership.
Yeah. He'll call me and say he wants something. And I'm like, that's kind of a statement. You really wasn't asking. So
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I can see what you're talking about, but I cannot wait for the city letter carriers to experience James Henry nationwide. I think that's going to be a treat. Your carriers are in great hands with you, my brother, in 1100. And I appreciate you, and I'm glad to call you my friend, my brother. And from all those months ago when you stopped me in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to say, brother, before we get off of here? I just wanted to talk about the convention. But
I got elections coming up. I'm just asking for the members for my branch. You got a choice. You got a choice that the ones that voted for the contract to keep Renfro in the office, or you got the ones that voted to remove Renfro, and my team is strong, and I'm going to make changes. We got 4 B team members that can train to what to put in the files to make sure we don't lose nothing.
Yeah. Well, all right, brother. And hey, I'll say it again. Anybody can come on here that wants to.
All right.
Thanks, buddy.
Later. Thanks.
All right, bud. We'll see you, man.
All right. My brother, Paul Perry. I love that guy, and we had a great conversation. Hope y'all enjoyed that. But he's an outstanding individual, man. If you ever met the guy, you'd love the guy. Outstanding dude. And like I say, hey, it's not going to be political. If whoever he running against him wants to come on here and talk and say, hey, this is why me, come on. I've always said anybody on the executive council can come on here. I've said that numerous times. And so we're not picking sides, but I wanted to talk to him because he's the president at the moment of Branch 1100, and they passed the convention, the motion for the special convention, and I wanted him on here to talk about it. I think it's very important to do that. Again, I don't see why any retiree would get up and oppose it. It doesn't make sense to me that you would want Renfro bargaining again for you. The failure that he was in this last TA, how any retiree would say, I don't want the special convention, just leave him in charge of it. I do not get that. And you can't say it's because of the cost, because you don't know what the cost is. We don't even have a convention yet. It's not even been called for. This is just for the letter. You're getting the cart before the horse when you talk about that, saying, hey, this cost is going to be too much. How much is it? Tell me a price it's going to be. Well, we can speculate. We don't deal on speculation. Tell me how much it's going to be. You can't, because you don't even know where it's going to be at. And so I don't get that, but you have that happening. You have it happening. So anyway, I want to talk about this Kentucky State Convention because it was completely bizarre. When I come back next week, we're going to get into the heat grievances. And we're going to do that for a while because we're in the middle of it. Okay, and we're going to jump on it right off at the beginning. I had the episode last week about dealing with scanner messages, unsafe scanner messages. All across the country, people were sending me their scanner message that said what? Take approved rest breaks to beat the heat. Take authorized rest breaks to beat the heat. That's exactly what we're talking about. So that was well timed to have that episode come out there about grieving those unsafe scanner messages, because that's what they are. We're going to grieve them every year, every single year. And I wish National would step up to the plate on that. Manny Peralta needs to do something about it. But we're going to grieve it every single year. That's just how it's going to be, all right? So I went to the Kentucky State Convention. I was invited to be a guest. I was not going to speak. I was just invited to be a guest. And so my wife and I went up there to the Kentucky State Convention. Walt McGregor is up there. He's the one running for business agent up there as well. And anytime I go somewhere, if somebody invites me, I'm going to act like I'm in your house. Okay? You will not know I'm there. And that's just how I am. I've always been that way. You will not know that I'm in this place. I go and sit down. I don't go around the room. Hey, I'm Corey, whatever. When we ate dinner, I went in and sat down and ate dinner. We were in the hospitality room. I stood to the side and talked to people that came up to me. That's just how I am. I don't glad hand people. I'm not a politician per se. I don't go around the room and do that kind of stuff. I go in and sit down. And so that's just how I am. I know a lot of people think that I'm different, but I'm not. I don't do a lot of stuff when I go places unless you want me to talk. If you want me to talk, I'll do that. But in Kentucky, I wasn't asked to speak. I was just asked to be a guest. And so that's what I did. The thing that was bizarre is that when I got there, the business agent of that region was standing out front of the hotel. And I don't think he saw me. And I pulled up, get out, and my wife and I are walking in, and he walks in the hotel. I still don't think he saw me. And so there are some individuals standing outside, and one of them I talked on the phone regularly with him. And so we go up, and I'm talking to all the guys, And so I go inside and check into my room, and somebody sends me a picture of somebody leaving, has all their stuff packed up. And I was like, who's that? And they said, it's our business agent. They said, if you're going to be here, he's not. And so I said, is he leaving? And they're like, yeah, he's leaving. I just got there. I hadn't been there 10 minutes. And goes back in. He tells people, hey, if he's here, I'm not. And so he leaves. And so I thought that was absolutely bizarre to do that. I went to Utah State Convention. That business agent there, he despises me. He's told people that. But he came up to me, shook my hand. He came onto my podcast now and said that, in his opinion, Brian Renfro was a truthful individual, and he's never known him to be untruthful. So that kind of shot all his shit in the dirt. But yeah, he came up to me and was fine. He don't like me, but he came up to me in the Utah State Convention and shook my hand, because when I go there, again, I act like I'm at your house. I will never go anywhere and embarrass myself, embarrass those that are with me or the host or whatever. That's not my makeup. I know how I appear on here because I get irate at things that happen to the city letter carrier because I love the city letter carrier. I'm the exact opposite when you see me. If you ever meet me, I'm the exact opposite of what you think. I don't get to go places and cuss a lot and all that stuff. That's not who I am. On here, when I talk about the things that are hurting my people, yes. you're going to get that. You're going to get that person, the boogeyman. That's what you're going to get. But in person, I'm not that way. And so it was surprising. Now, obviously, this business agent, I don't care for him. I think he's a Renfro lackey, and maybe he didn't like that. He's voted for Renfro, but anyway, he left. We go to the banquet, and we're eating dinner, and Walt's with me. Obviously, my wife's with me, and his wife, and everything, and it's a great time. Not one individual from the business agent's office came in there to be with their people during that banquet because we were in there. Not a single member of the business agent's office came into that banquet. Can you imagine that? These are people we're wanting to fight against labor, fight against management, and they won't even come into a banquet with their own people because I'm in there. Think about that. These are the people that are running our union. When I talk about the cowardice, when we say we're going to defeat the cowardice in this union, that we're going to turn the page on that when the CLC takes over. We're going to get rid of that cowardice. Not one individual from the business agent's office showed up at that banquet to spend time with their people because I was there. Think about that. And you don't like me because I've come on here and I've said that my people are going to be first or else. And they don't like that. The city letter carrier is going to be first or else. We talked to Paul and I, y'all heard us talk about the APW getting 100% COLA, which is good for them. You had your president, and we beat this to death. I know people are probably tired of it, but you had your president stand up and said he got every penny he could get out of the Postal Service. He couldn't get anything else. He couldn't get anything better if he went to arbitration, and he stipulated an award on us and rammed through the TA even though we voted it down. And yet the APW comes out with 100% COLA. How is that possible if you got everything that you could get out of the Postal Service? That tells you what your president and the Postal Service thinks about you. And then you have people like this business agent from Kentucky, that region, that support. And you had Renfro tell the members, the rank and file, I did everything that I could do for you, and the Postal Service did everything they could do for you. And then you have the APW come out with 100% COLA. That's the complete disrespect I've been talking about from the beginning, when I started railing on my union about the disrespect, when I would say that we've been abandoned by both sides. We've been abandoned by the Postal Service because they hate our guts. We are the cash cow to the Postal Service. They're going to make their money by beating us to death, right? We're also abandoned by our union when you have the president say he's done everything that he possibly can do, and then you have the APW come out. Now what's going to happen next year? He's probably going to get and he's going to get 100% COLA and say, hey, look at what I did. Even though the APW did it. He won't have anything to do with it, but he'll say now, more than likely we can get 100% COLA. Yeah, because the APW did that work. And so, I went after the establishment pretty heavy because my people have been abandoned. And I am part of that. I'm a city letter carrier. And so, yes, I was irate. And I stay irate at my union, at how they're doing, their lack of leadership, the cowardice in this union right now. And to me, that was a perfect example at the Kentucky State Convention when not one member of the business agent's office showed up to the banquet. I don't get that. I don't care who's there. I don't care who's there. You show up. You show up. If somebody hates me and I know they hate me and they show up somewhere, I'm not leaving. I'm not walking away. I'm going to be there. And so I thought that was odd. When you look at what we do, and Paul and I talked about this if you listen, but you have carriers. You had a carrier in California get shot today. And I think James is going to talk about that tomorrow. I watched a video also of a young lady that was delivering mail outside of her vehicle. And these two individuals walk up behind her and stick a gun to her head. And it's on the video. Stick a gun to her head. And scares the ever-loving shit out of this girl, obviously. Take her back to her vehicle, put her in the vehicle, takes something away from her. I guess it was her key. Something falls on the ground. She walks away, backs up. She is shooken. I mean, she is shaking something awful, obviously, because of, you turn around and somebody's got a gun to your head, and so then they take off. We deal with that all the time. That is something that the APW will never have to deal with. We have people dying on the street due to heat. That is something that the APW will never have to deal with. You remember last year, you had naps. They had one of their own get into our vehicle and drive around because district was telling them to get in our vehicles and drive with us during the middle of summer, which was absolutely idiotic because you cannot use summer months against us. And so when we get in as EVP, we're going to be addressing that. And I'll talk more about that later. But you cannot use the summer months against us, June, July, and August, but yet they will send their people to sit in the back of our vehicle to badger the shit out of us. And what happened? One of them died. And so what did NAPS do? Raised total hell about how unsafe that was. Unsafe that was for them to put one of their own in the back of our vehicles, the ones we drive every single day. And what does NAPS turn around and do? What do the supervisors and managers turn around and do after that? Send us these messages. Take approved rest breaks to beat the heat. They've got short memory because one of their own lost their life in the back of our vehicle last year. And this year, what does NAPS do? What does supervisors and all those do? Keep it moving, beat the heat. Take authorized breaks to beat the heat. We're going to do this auto pivot so that y'all have no downtime in the summer. We want y'all working as much as possible. So we're going to do these auto pivots during the summer. There's the reason they don't use summer months against us because we don't have the mail volume during the summer. So they come out with these auto pivots to make sure that we stay out there longer in the heat. There's nothing going on to protect the city letter carriers in the heat. Nothing. And so business agents get upset at me because I come on here and say, y'all are failing us. The establishment gets upset at me because I come on here and say, city letter carrier, y'all are failing us. My business agent is failing us. Other business agents are failing us. And so they don't show up to functions that I show up in because I get on here and I say, hey, y'all have abandoned us. Y'all have failed us, the city letter carrier. And they don't like that. APW doesn't have to be out in the storms, in the snow, in the heat. At Christmas time, you watch UPS. They make more than us. At Christmas time, they get helpers. You know what we get? Nothing. A foot in the ass. That's all we get. So UPS makes more money than we do. At Christmas, they have to have helpers just to deliver packages. And we're doing all of this by ourselves. My laptop is quitting on me, so it's going to be a lot of splicing because I'm having to go back. It's just stopping. And so it's going to seem really choppy, but my laptop is just stopping. And so I'm having to go back and splice things in so that you're probably going to be like, what is going on? But that's what that is just it's a lot of splicing going to happen because it just keeps cutting out on me. But, APWU doesn't have to worry about DOAS and PET and 3996s and those arguments that go along with that. The falsification of the clock rings, scanner messages. Paul and I were talking about that, the hip falsification, stuff like that. They don't have to deal with any of these things. And we cannot come up with a game plan to sell these things to an arbitrator that we deserve more. Now, I know Mike Cariff put up that arbitrator Fleisch's decision about we deserve more because we do more. We talked about that way back in the TA as well. The Postal Reorganization Act, we talked about those things way back when the TA was coming out. How we deserve more because we do more, and we don't have a president that can go in there and convince an arbitrator of just that. And he sold us out. And so I talk about these things on my episodes. Because these are things that affect me. I'm a city letter carrier, and these are things that affect me. And so business agents don't like that. I call them out. They don't like that. But to not show up and to leave. Pack your stuff up and leave, because me, somebody that is a voice for the city letter carrier, somebody that's trying to hold people accountable, you're going to leave. You're going to pack up your shit and leave your people because of that. I thought that was completely bizarre. I will never do that. I will never be the one that leaves. I've always told y'all, I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. I just never will. That's not who I am. That's not my makeup. I will never leave you. And so it was bizarre. But business agents and the establishment and those like that, they weren't listening to us. They weren't listening to us, so we raised our voices so they would. And they don't like it. They know that their time is coming to an end, and they don't like it. But we raised our voices. When it first started, we held out our hand to them. We held out our hand to the establishment saying, hey, help us. Help us. We're getting run over right now. We held out our hand to them and say, please help us, to the point to where we were abandoned, and we had to, instead of hold out that hand, had to clench that fist. And they do not know what to do with us now, because the hand that was held out is now clenched into a fist, and they have no idea. They never saw it coming, and they don't understand why. We've been on here for 2 years talking about it, what's happened to us, what's happening to us on the floor, the things that are being put in place that are harming us, a president that is harming us, an executive vice president that is harming us, and they turn their backs to us. Just about all of them. There are a few that have not. Just about all of them have turned their backs on us. And so I thought it odd. I could see it in the people's faces that were there, that they were completely dumbfounded by watching their leader, their business agent, pack up his shit and leave. Pack up his stuff and leave, and say, if he's here, I'm not going to be. And like I said, when I go somewhere, I just sit at a table. You will never know I'm there. That's just how I am. That's my makeup. You will never know I'm there. When I went up to the hospitality room, you would never know I'm there. There was a bunch of guys talking. I was in there talking with them. I knew some of them. I met some of them before, and we talked. I'm the nicest guy ever. But, I thought that was bizarre. I thought that was kind of odd that happened, just because I showed up. Now, I've been a bunch of places. People have asked me to talk. I talk, sit down. I don't know. I thought that was cowardly to do your people like that, especially not one person from the business agent's office showing up at the banquet. That was bizarre. But this next election will be the rank and file against the establishment, and maybe that's why. Because maybe they consider me the voice. I don't know. But it will be the rank and file against the establishment. And you're going to see a beatdown like you've never seen before in your life in this next election. You're going to see an absolute beatdown, and I don't care who runs. It will be the establishment against the rank and file. And you will see a beatdown like never before. And maybe that's why they don't like me, because they're fixing to lose their 6-figure jobs. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But I wanted to talk about that because I told the people there that I would. They's like, surely you're going to talk about this. I said, I'll talk about it. But, I don't know why it happened. Like I said, I thought it was completely bizarre. And but that's where we are as a union. Our leaders are leaving. They've been doing it for 2 years now, for 3 years now. Our leaders have turned their backs on us and leaving, and we're gonna address it next year. We're going to address it. I want to talk about Lou's last episode, and because it troubled me, because I've been getting on Lou pretty good. And, I love Lou. I've been getting on him pretty good. And this last episode, it bothered me. And, I told myself, I'm not going to pray on Lou. I'm going to pray for Lou because of the thing that he said. And it just let me know we're not dealing with somebody that's healthy in the mind. And it bothered me. It really did. But I was sitting on the couch yesterday, and somebody messaged me and they said, hey, did Lou really tell people, advocates, to subpoena witnesses that were refusing to come testify? I didn't know what they were talking about, because I thought Lou had finished I thought he was done with the podcast. I thought he quit. And so I said, not that I'm aware of. I said, surely not. And they was like, we're hearing from people that Lou is telling people, advocates, to have the arbitrator subpoena witnesses that are refusing to testify. And so I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've not heard that. And I'm trying to defend Lou, because surely he didn't say that. And so somebody later sent me, said, go to this minute mark of the episode. So I did. And he was trying to take another shot at me about this JSOV case. I think he's got a hard on for the JSOV case for some reason. But he said that you would have the arbitrator subpoena those witnesses that were refusing to testify. And surely he didn't think that out when he said it. So you're saying that you would subpoena a witness that is refusing to testify for the union. And you would have them come in duress against their will to an arbitration to testify for you. And he did not think that out, because that's the last thing you would ever do, is have a witness that is refusing to answer a phone call, refusing to come and testify, force them to come testify. He didn't read the case file, because management contested the statements. And so we don't have the last say. Management has the last say. And so you don't have a clue what any of those witnesses would come testify to. You could say, take them to this statement. Did you write this statement? Do you support this statement? What if they say no? What if they say, no, I don't support that statement? Because you're the end for forcing them to come do something they don't want to do. You can say, did you write this statement? I did. And so is this statement accurate? No, it's not. I was coerced into writing that. You have no idea what they will say. So, it was odd, that approach, but I mean, whatever. I mean, Lou is a good advocate. So, if he thinks you should have an arbitrator subpoena witnesses that are refusing to testify, if that's what you want to believe, do that. But I'm not going to be that, because you don't know what they're going to say. You can, like I said, you can take them to their statement and say, did you write this? Yes. Okay, thank you. And then management can come in later and say, did you write this under duress? Yes, I did. And so there's not shit you can do about it. But that's not what bothered me. And the other stuff, that's just Lou being Lou. I mean, he's the old man shaking his fist on the porch right now. The thing that bothered me, and it did bother me, because I do love Lou. He's a good guy. Is that when he was trying to justify his alcoholism, and everybody at National that knows Lou his issues with alcoholism, they all know it. Everybody that knows Lou knows that he's always dealt with alcoholism. And Lou's almost 70, and he addressed his alcoholism, and he said that basically, yes, I'm an alcoholic, but the reason I am is because I love to party with the city letter, was what he said. To address alcoholism and say, yes, basically, yes, I'm an alcoholic, but it's okay because I love to party with the city letter carrier. Now, here's somebody that is thinking about running for the highest position, telling the country, I am an alcoholic, but it's okay because I love to party with the city letter carrier. This guy's not in college. He's almost 70. Talking like that. Now, here's the problem. It's almost as absurd a statement as I've been watching from afar. when you talk about alcoholism, when you talk about saying that, hey, when I was an alcoholic, one of the biggest problems I had when I was an alcoholic was I was a liar. And you're seeing that a lot through Lou's podcast, is that he's having a difficult time telling the truth. We've caught him several times here through documentation where he's having a very difficult time telling the truth. And it's due to his alcoholism. Renfro kind of corroborated that. He substantiated that when he says, hey, when I was having all these issues, remember in Boston when he said, I'm having all these issues when I was being so dishonest with everybody, it's due to my alcoholism. The problem is that he was sober when he was still lying to us through the TA, and so that kind of shot that in the ass. But Lou's having a very difficult time with his truthfulness, and it's attributed to his alcoholism. So he didn't say, I'm no longer an alcoholic. He said, yes, I am. But it's because I love to party with a city letter carrier. Now here's a guy, and this is why I said I'm going to pray for Lou and not on Lou, and I'm being dead serious. I had people that were on social media saying that his podcast should be called Sleepy Hour with Drunk Ass Drass, and I took exception to that, saying drunk ass Drass. Because here's a guy who has done a lot for the union. And to say Sleepy Hour with Drunk Ass Drass was, it was disrespectful. Whatever you think of the post, it was kind of disrespectful because he has done a lot for the union. But you tell people that, yes, I'm an alcoholic, but it's okay because I love to party with a city letter carrier. Here's the issue, Lou. It's cost you everything that you've ever worked for. It's cost you that. When you was a vice president, the director of city delivery, who was an alcoholic, snitched on you because of your alcoholism. It cost you the executive vice president position. It cost you that. And you say, so what? Because that's what you said. I love to party with a city letter carrier. So what? You lost the executive vice president position, Lou, because of your alcoholism. You're going to tell people, so what? You lost the presidency because of your alcoholism. And you say, so what? Brother, listen to me. You need help. This is not funny. It is not funny, my man. Think of the things that this union has gone through because of alcoholism. With Renfro, non-existent in the first 3 months of our collective bargaining. Just MIA. And it's due to his alcoholism. Coming out later about the DUIs, the things that happened with him. All the issues that he had with intoxication. And you say, so what? Brother, it is not funny right now. I could not be any more concerned for your well-being. The problem is that you don't see the ignorance of that statement. As almost a 70-year-old man, you don't see the ignorance of that statement. You don't see what that has cost you being an alcoholic. And I'm talking as real as I can talk. I'm not joking. Okay? I mean, because we're talking about a human being, okay, who's in trouble, in big trouble. To say that something that has cost me everything, the EVB position, because Renfro, who is a drunk, snitched on you, which tells you the state that you're in. Everybody up there knows of your alcoholism. And instead of saying, hey, like Renfro did, hey, yeah, I used to have issues with it. Yeah, I'm seeking help for that. Instead of doing that, instead of saying Coy doesn't know what he's talking about because I've been getting help for that, instead of that, Lou, you say, yeah, I am that. It's almost like you're prideful of that. Yes, I'm an alcoholic, but it's only because I love to party with a city letter carrier. So what? Brother, listen to me, my man. All jokes aside, me and you can keep going at each other and that's fine. Alcoholism, it's not a game, man. It's not a game. It's not something that you say it's okay because I love to party with city letter carrier. My man, look, I get it. You're trying to attract the younger audience or whatever that is. Brother, that's stupidity. It's dangerous stupidity. To kind of glorify alcoholism, something that has cost so many people so much. Even you, brother, even you, it's cost you so much to do that. Look, man, you can keep coming after me. That's fine. I love this shit. Trust me. And we can keep doing it every week. I pray for you, my man. I do. I pray for you. Anybody that would justify alcoholism as I just love to party with a city letter carrier. Man, you're almost 70 years old, brother. At some point, you're going to have to look in the mirror and say, hey, I've lost everything. I've lost everything. It is not a laughing matter. This is not funny. So I pray for you, my man. I know why you're here. Everybody knows why you're here. The phone calls that have been made. You've come in now that somebody that's done you the way they've done you, Renfro, is defeated. You've come in and you're going to throw your hat in the ring because the carriers have done all the work. I get it. You're going to lose. The establishment is going to lose, okay? I'm going to give you what you're looking for next year, brother. Next December, I'm going to give you what you've been looking for. I'm going to give you peace. I'm going to give you peace, man. I'm going to help you retire, okay, officially. No more worrying about the union. The CLC is going to win this thing in a landslide. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. I'm going to give you that peace you've been looking for next December, my brother. I will be that final resolution to your ongoing issue next December. All right? That's a promise from me to you. I'm going to pray for you, not on you. Okay? Next December, my man, I'm going to give you what you've been looking for. Okay? This has been eating at you for far too long, what they've done to you. And I get it. I get it. You were due that position. Due to your alcoholism, you lost it. You were supposed to have been the next president. Due to your alcoholism, you lost it. You've lost so much due to alcoholism, and it's extremely sad to hear you say that it's okay that you're an alcoholic because you love to party. You just love to party with the city letter carriers. So what? So what? So what has cost you so much? That attitude of, so what? I'm an alcoholic. So what? It's cost you everything, brother. It's cost you everything. And I hate to hear you say that. Look, we can have fun. We can have fun with each other. We can go back and forth with each other. You can talk about the JSOV case years from now. You can be sitting on your chair in the front porch and you're like, that, but he lost the JSOV case. He lost that JSOV case. You can say that when you're in the old folks' home. It's like, you don't understand. He lost the JSOV case. You can say that forever, my man. I'm going to give you peace next December, man. I'm going to give you peace. And you can retire. And we'll take it from here, my man. But I feel for you. I felt something for you, Lou, that I've not felt for the establishment since I started getting in their ass, and that's pity. That's pity. I've not felt pity for the establishment 1 second, because everything that's fixing to happen to them next year is due. They're going to collect what's been coming to them next year. Now, everything that's fixing to happen to them is well earned when they get this next year, all right? I felt pity for you. That's the first time I felt anything for the establishment other than disdain and hatred. And I pray for you, my man, I do. I pray for you. It can never be, so what? That can never be the answer to alcoholism. It's cost me everything, so what? I lost my position, so what? I lost an opportunity to be EVP of this union, so what? I lost the chance to be the president, something that I had been wanting to do forever. So what? I've lost my reputation. So what? Everybody up here knows that I'm an alcoholic. So what? Brother, it can never be so what. It can never be so what. All right? I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for you. I promise you that. I will not pray on you. I'll pray for you, okay? And I ask that everybody that's listening to me, pray for my man Lou Dress. Pray for him. All right? Anybody that would say, I'm an alcoholic, I get it, but it's okay. It's okay because I love to party with a city letter carrier. So what? Anybody that says that's in trouble. They're hurting. So everybody that's listening to me, whoever it is, I ask that you pray for my man Lou Dress, my friend. Okay? Look, I will not have an episode Sunday. I'll be out of town. I will try to have one Monday. Okay? We're going to get into heat training, grievances dealing with heat issues. We're going to do that for a couple of weeks. All right? Because we're going to meet, when you talk about meat management head on, that's what we're going to do when we're dealing with heat. It costs us our lives and we're going to address it. Okay? So we're going to do that tomorrow, God willing. God willing. We're going to have the Wolf, James Henry, will be on. I'm going to have the Lions Den, some 6-day count. If my laptop makes it. Now this is going to sound terrible, this episode, because my laptop kept cutting off on me and I'm going to have to splice a bunch in together, so it's going to be really choppy. I apologize, but better days are coming. Tomorrow I take my laptop in at 5 o'clock and they're going to fix it. They found it almost immediately what was wrong with it. And so Monday, it's going to be a whole new me, baby. It's going to be a whole new me. All right. We have Paul Perry on today. I love that guy. I love Paul Perry, man. What a fighter for the city letter carriers. I love that guy. And again, anybody who wants to come on here can come on here. Anybody on the executive council that wants to come on here, come on here. Anybody that's a resident officer that wants to come on here, come on here. I will give everybody full access, equal access, okay? Equal access, all right? I love you, city letter carrier, with all my heart. I am a city letter carrier. We will do this together, all right? I promise you, we will do this together. This movement, be proud of it. They are going to reap the whirlwind next year. 2 years worth of, 3 years worth of shit. They're going to reap the whirlwind next year in this election. It will be unlike anything you have ever seen. I promise you. It's coming. And we will take over this thing next year. And the city letter carrier, for the first time in a long time, will be put back in charge of this union. They will be first again. Okay? Naysayers, establishment, they can come and do whatever they want to do. They're a paper plate in the face of a tsunami. That's all they are. They're buzzards. Right? The consequence of what they've done is coming next year. And we, the rank and file, are the consequence of what they've done. Okay? I love you with all my heart. And I will be there with you in the front. I will not be in the back. I'll be in the front, just like we have been for 3 straight years. I'll be in the front. We'll be fighting with you, all right? So y'all have a fantastic rest of the week. Hopefully my laptop works tomorrow. We'll have the Wolf, James Henry on, the Lions Den. Next week, we're going to jump into some heat training, all right? I love you, City Letter Carrier, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.